All right, awesome. Wow, great to see you guys here. Hi, everybody. Today we're chatting with the awesome Elise Bauman of Salem Harvest in Oregon and talking about food safety and waste prevention. They're really important topics that don't get as much light as they really should. It's a great conversation to have as the session kind of ramps up for the season. And I just want to go over a couple of quick announcements before we get started. It's been pretty intense lately with the start of the season and all the things. So I wanted to extend the meeting preference survey a little bit longer. For the last 2 years, the Washington Gleaning Network has been holding monthly meetings like this one, digging really deeply into themes on gleaner related topics. But we've been wondering if every meeting every single month is ideal for you all, especially during the busy seasons like are upon us now. So we'd love your thoughts on how we might shift into a more efficient cadence that enables us to respect your time and also come together and share our experience with each other. So I just dropped into the chat the meeting preference survey. Next, I do not have an update on the advisory committee meeting to give you all right now. We rescheduled for next week. We just got back from the AGO conference, and it was a really inspiring event, just really beautiful with the prevailing theme of storytelling. It was a great chance for us all to get together and learn from each other. And just FYI, recordings and slides and so on will be available in the next couple of weeks, and I'll send those out to all of you as soon as they're up. Next, I wanted to briefly mention Washington State University is doing a kind of study on the grant that AGO received to pilot the Washington Gleaning Network project. They're doing a study of that grant and the effects of it, and it will be a ripple effects mapping session on May 13th. I'm going to paste in the chat the link here. You may have received a calendar invite already, but I'm also dropping the link here. Next is the Gleaner Guides project has kicked off. Students working on their capstone community project from University of Washington's Food Systems, Nutrition, and Health program. They're beginning to send out a kind of ask to folks in the network asking to help build a knowledge resource for gleaners across Washington. You may have already seen an email in your inbox just asking to collect training materials, handbooks, promotional tools, whatever resources you're able to share related to the field of gleaning, so we can begin to compile a shared resource that is easily accessible for gleaners. So I'm going to paste that form in the chat as well. Please have a quick look. It would be amazing to have all of you represented. And final announcement. Sorry, David.
No, that's okay. No. I'm just adjusting myself.
Running through these. Final announcement. Please join us next month in June as we chat with Emily Larson of Uproot, Colorado. As she walks us through the systems and tools that have helped Uproot streamline their harvest workflows between scheduling gleans to tracking volunteers, collecting data in the field with Salesforce. You may have already got a calendar invite, but I will also drop that into the chat. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Elise. Please go ahead, Elise.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah and David, for inviting me here today. I'm super excited to talk to you all about food waste and not wasting more food than is necessary through food handling safety. FSMA, Food Safety Modernization Act, you all might know something about that. And I just wanted to, give some hints and tips of what we do at Salem Harvest and making this streamlined and something that all of our volunteers, whether they've been harvesting with us for years or this is their first time, they know what to expect. They're able to follow through and do what is necessary in order to maintain the quality of the food, therefore reducing the food waste. All the food that we harvest at Salem Harvest is going to be left in the fields to rot. So we consider that going to be wasted food, but why continue to waste it after we've even harvested it? So by having good practices around food safety handling, we can reduce that waste. All right, so I'm going to start my slides. I think I need to share my screen first, and then I will start said slideshow. All right, give me a thumbs up there, sir, if you can see my slide. Perfect. All right. So how to accomplish FSMA on the farm? Consistency. Consistency is the key. And what I say is like create a set of rules or expectations. I'm finding expectations is like a better word that everyone follows every time. What we've done at Salem Harvest is create what we call table cards. So this is a laminated 11 by 17 sheet that has all of the expectations that we have on it, in picture form, written short statements in 3 different languages that people speak at our harvests, as well as, verbally as well. So we use these cards to present an orientation each and every time that we harvest. We never know who's new, who listened last time, all of those sort of things. The majority of these items are also listed on our website under our volunteer terms of participation. So it's no surprise, should not be a surprise, but sometimes it is. I'm going to say like our biggest one that people forget about and show up not prepared is closed-toed shoes. Just throwing that out there. That's a toughie sometimes. People just jump in their cars and come on out and don't think about it. So how do we accomplish this actually on the farm, particularly like the nuts and bolts, the hard things like hand washing? How do we get that there? Well, first off, we compile all of our supplies that's needed for the harvest in what we call a harvest kit. And so that's ready to go at any time. It's a plastic box with the lid, kind of like a tote, you could say. There's soap, paper towels, gloves, first aid kit, papers, pens, checklists, food grade sanitizer, all of these things in this kit that anybody at any time who's going to go do a harvest can stop by, pick it up, and take it off. Oh, I should let you all know that I use the word harvest instead of glean. That's just our nomenclature here at our organization. So interchangeable for this particular situation. So we grab a harvest kit, we take a table, a jug of water with a spout, kind of like a camping kind of thing. So the water can be turned on and turned off quickly. A small bucket or a bag for garbage and paper towels, a 5-gallon bucket with a very tight fitting lid or one of those spin-on lids so that you can collect the used water, the dirty water. I take the dirty water back to our storage area that has a gravel parking lot, and I just pour it out there for infiltration, that sort of stuff. Yeah, and so that's our harvest kit right there. So every time, each and every time, everyone washes their hands before entering the fields. This is the setup we have with these 2 cute little girls washing their hands. Even the little ones, they've got to wash their hands. There's the water bucket right there that collects the used water. Our trash can right over here, soap, water, paper towels. On the other end of the table are the orientation cards so people can read them as they're washing their hands, as well as there's gloves and all those other items that I've mentioned. Here in these other 2 pictures, I'm just highlighting that we have these awesome green harvest bins. They have holes in them to let the water out and the air in. But the bad part is they let dirt in as well. So if you set them on the ground and your food is poking through the holes a little bit, you will get the food dirty. So we either never take them out of a clean area, like a table or the back of our truck, or we stack them so that the one on the bottom never touches, the food never touches the ground. Highlighting here that, keep your eyes open for those times when food might be in compromised position to become contaminated. Just keep your eyes open at every harvest that you have. Like, how can I reduce the risks? How can I reduce the risks? I know you can't get to it. Maybe Sarah can pop that in the chat at some point. This is a YouTube video of food safety specifically for gleaners. It was sent to me by my contact at the Oregon Department of Agriculture. It's very basic. She's like, this is really great. And she said also, and you guys do a great job too. But we don't have a video. So there's a fun little video if you want to go watch that.
I got it.
Introduction to food safety challenges. Well, I'm going to try to run through these kind of maybe a little quicker, just because I think most people might already know about this. And these slides will be available. I've given them to Sarah as well. You can ask her, or she may just provide them. So why do we care? Why should we care about food safety or produce safety? People are going to eat this. They might not wash it. And once it's contaminated, it's really hard to get it not contaminated. So prevention is the key. Like, keep the microorganisms off, keep them from growing, all of these sort of things as much as possible. Prevention, prevention, prevention. How can contamination spread? Like, what are the tools? Like, how does it get moved around? Well, humans, animals, soil, water, tools, containers, you think about it, it probably is a source of contamination. We can't control it all. We cannot control when a bird flies over the blackberry field or the broccoli field and poops, right? We can't control that, but we can keep our eyes out for it and not pick it. So think about these sort of things when you're out there. And control the things that you can control, particularly tools, surfaces, containers, hands. Control that, keep them clean, keep them sanitized, be ready to go on that. Dun, dun. Cleaning versus sanitizing. Physical removal of dirt is cleaning. Sanitizing is the treating a clean surface to reduce or eliminate microorganisms. So if there's dirt on it, particularly your hands, if your hands are dirty, it doesn't make any sense to put sanitizer on them, because you're just going to squish around the dirt and nothing's going to come off. That is Oregon Department of Ag, FSMA sort of thing, stated many times. Sanitizer on hands does not do as good a job as washing your hands and letting the microorganisms in the dirt fall into a bucket and get off your hands. Sanitizing after washing your hands, great. Sanitizing after washing the table, great. But you got to clean it first. Safety risks, like I say, just keep an eye out. Throughout every harvest, new or old, you might think you know exactly what's going on and what can be done, but keep in mind, like, look for it. Look for it. Keep an eye out for how could this be a contamination point and reduce the risk as much as possible. All right, health and hygiene. We can control all of these items, right? Don't let people use the bathroom in the field. That's a no. Yeah, you would think, right? You would think that that would be a known thing, but then you have a family that comes out, has a small child, and they're used to just peeing in the woods. Well, we're not in the woods, we're in a field, so we got to take care of that in a different manner. Most farms nowadays usually have a porta potty nearby. And if not, for us, all of our volunteers arrived in a vehicle. They can get back in their vehicle and go to the nearest, gas station, or, down the road to the nearest porta potty that they saw on the farm down the way. But again, don't pee in the field. Wear clean clothing. We don't want to bring contamination from one field or your chicken coop to the farm to get onto the strawberries that we're picking today. So come pretty clean, come clean. The same with the footwear. Don't come out after you fed your cows and you're bringing out a new contaminant, something that's different, not in the field. Wash your hands, don't come sick, And if you get injured, take care of it. Don't continue to get blood all over whatever you're harvesting. Bandage, put on gloves. Tools and equipment, yes. Those need to be cleaned every time a new field comes around. Before use and after use is what we do. We wash them before anybody takes them out into the field that day, that morning of. And when they come back out of the field, we wash them again just to make sure that they're clean. How do you train your volunteers? We do it each and every time we have a harvest because we never know. We have new people joining us all the time. If you have a different, setup where you have just a set number of folks who come out all the time, you could probably just train once a year or once a month or something. But because we have people coming out different all the time, we're just like, we're going to just hit this every time. And it takes about 5 or 6 minutes before the harvest for a quick orientation, just talking about what are we looking for? What are we expecting? What are the expectations? How can we help people meet those expectations? And to be honest, everybody expects it now, like consistency, since we've been doing it this way for about 5 years. People are like, oh yeah, of course we're going to wash our hands. There's no reason not to wash our hands. We'll be upset if we can't wash our hands. My favorite picture. Training to identify and reduce risks. Yeah, just keep it in mind. Like continually think about where can these things happen. Look for animal tracks, look for bird poop, look for animal bedding areas. Those things we can't control animals from getting into the field, but we can definitely look and say, hey, mark off the area. We're not harvesting here. Don't never, there's another one. Don't pick up drop produce. What is drop produce? An apple falls on the ground while you're harvesting. And now it stays on the ground. Apples don't grow near the ground, so they're just going to stay there. Strawberries, they grow close to the ground. They often touch the ground. That is not drop produce if they touch the ground. It becomes drop produce, though, if you put it into a container and you're walking back to your car or you're walking back to the donation station table and you drop all the strawberries on the ground. Now that's drop produce. It's touching ground probably where trucks have been, oil from vehicles. They took quite a fall and they're very bruised now, covered in dirt, who knows. Drop produce like that. If it's meant to drop on the ground before harvesting, like hazelnuts, hey, harvest away. If it can handle a drop like a carrot and it grows underground or it's all covered with dirt anyway, hey, yeah, go ahead. It's not drop produce. Always provide the resources needed. So those things in our harvest kit are the things that we need, and we keep it stocked, ready to go at all times, just so we're never caught off guard. There's always soap, water, paper towels, first aid kit, a designated break area. No, we don't carry a designated break area with us, but we always let our volunteers know, hey, you need to take a rest. And kids in particular, if you want to taste test, we can't eat in the field, but if you want to taste test, bring it up here next to the hand washing station. Wash your hands, eat the food, wash your hands, be ready to get back to work, but don't eat in the field. Here's our designated break area right next to the hand washing station. Toilets and paper towels as available. It's awesome if you have that available. And like I say, we let our volunteers know if one isn't available. Here's the nearest location to use a bathroom. Water can be in the field per FSMA rules. Water in a plastic container or a container that is not glass. I'm uncertain if you can take metal into a field. We suggest not, just in case somebody leaves it out in the field and then a tractor or something comes along to turn the field. A metal tumbler, metal container might cause damage. Definitely no glass in the field at any time. Concern about broken glass getting into food, broken glass getting into the field as well. But water, just water, non-water items, like if somebody brings their coffee, we ask them to leave that in their car or at the donation station or the hand washing station if they want to continue to drink their beverage. So here are some musts, and when the FSMA, when they say must, this is a non-negotiable. So these are the musts. Don't pet the animals at the farm. No petting the farm dog and then finishing harvesting your strawberries or the marionberries. Nope. You would need to wash your hands after touching any animals. Maintain your gloves. If you're wearing gloves, you don't have to use gloves. Jewelry on the hand, like no big bobbly jewels, but you could cover it with a glove. Just think of that like you're out there picking a soft fruit of like a peach or something, and you accidentally run your very large diamond ring down the face of a peach, right? How long before that is all moldy and spreads to everything else? Maybe a day, maybe two. If you're ill, if harvest, what we ask our volunteers when they arrive about their health. We got into that in the COVID era, and we still continue to ask about their health. And if they become sick during the harvest at some reason, they aren't feeling well, of course, they're going to come to us, and we ask that they come to us and let us know, and we ask them to go home. And you must wash your hands. But sickness, having sick people pick food is just not a great idea. That's just asking for contamination. Hands must be washed at all these times. I always get feedback on, before putting on gloves, I have to wash my hands before I put on the gloves. Yeah, that's an expectation of the FSMA requirements. Yes, it is. Proper hand washing. We probably all know this from our COVID era, but I love this picture of like, these are the places most frequently missed, like the tops of the fingers and your thumb. Who thinks to wash the back of their thumb? Clothes and footwear, like I said, footwear is the worst. People just come out to a blueberry harvest, hey, we're just in this beautiful patch of blueberries. What could go wrong? This is meant to protect people's feet as well as people's food. Like, having your toes brush up against some strawberries that then you're going to give to somebody at the food share or, someplace else. Probably not the greatest idea. But ultimately, we're there, asking for closed-toed shoes to protect people's feet. And so our organization says closed heel, closed toe, covers the top of the foot. No ballerina slippers, because something could fall on your foot and hurt it pretty severely. These are the symptoms we look for. I think there's some variation for that, but those are the ones we look for. It used to be like, how was it anyway? COVID. Injuries, they're reported to harvest leaders, and if it takes more than a Band-Aid, we always let our farmer know as well what happened. Do not like try to clean produce that has blood on it. No, just discard it, leave it there, smash it, like break it so nobody else thinks they can go ahead and harvest that. Even if it's a green fruit that has blood on it, definitely just break it, unpick it, rub it in the dirt. I don't know, just make it obvious that you're not going to pick that thing or take it with you. If let's say you were picking blackberries or something that's thorny, and you get a prick on your hand and people don't notice and they're continuing to pick into their bucket, and then they look at their fingers and they're like, oh, I have blood on my hand. Everything in that bucket is now contaminated and needs to be thrown away, and the bucket sanitized, bandaged on the hand, glove over the top, and then they can get back to work. Don't mess around with bodily fluids on fruits and vegetables. All right, that was my slideshow right there. I think I saw questions coming in. 2 new messages. Oh, we're sharing some more information. Perfect. All right, I'm open for questions. I know we've got to have a couple.
That was great, Elise. I do have a kind of question I love how thorough you were in this. I have a question for kind of like everybody as well. I was wondering, I just love the idea of your kits that you've created, your totes for the gleaners, and was wondering if, in the future, anyone might be interested in the Gleaning Network offering kind of kits like this with like food safety items, and so on. So just kind of, yeah, brainstorming here while you're chatting. I'm like, wow, this is great. You'll have so much thorough information for everyone. I got a thumbs up from Emily. All right. Thank you.
We just find like having like I say, consistency, and because it's not the same person, like we harvest 200 different times a year in many different locations for 6 7 months out of the year. To have the same consistency and the same expectations at every time we're out there with volunteers, we just find having everything in a box. We actually have 3 of them, and they're fully stocked at all times. It just makes it so much simpler to have that consistency that we're looking for, so that volunteers have that expectation. They know that they like people actually, volunteers actually come to me and say, we appreciate being able to show up and know everything's going to be worked out just fine, and we know what to expect, and everything's there and ready for us. All we got to do is just come.
Awesome.
Elise, I love what you have put together and what you built for that program. I mean, I've been down there, and I just continue to be so impressed with how thoughtful all of your programming is. I think that oftentimes when it comes to gleaning organizations, this is one of the things we're working on, and why we're creating the Washington Gleaning Network is, oftentimes people are just kind of doing their best to make things work. Can you talk a little bit about like those early days when you sort of transitioned from, oh, let's just try to figure out how to make things work, to really, I don't want to say professionalizing, but really making your program, so focused on being a reliable partner, both with the community and the farmers that you're working with?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, like, yeah, we started in 2010, and yeah, you're absolutely right. It was like a weekend thing. People would go out. We started in backyards, and Leanne, I do see your hand. And so, yeah, we were really just trying to save some fruit from going to waste in people's backyards, and that sort of thing, taking it down to Union Gospel Mission. But as soon as a farmer came to us and said, hey, how about coming out to a field? Like, then when we're looking at this mass amount of produce that could be saved, we're like, we need to start like putting some steps in place. How can we make sure that, one, our volunteers have an expected experience? Two, how can we get fresh produce that lasts long and is safe for people to eat at food shares and different places and pantries where we take it? And three, how can we carry on now that FSMA, I think FSMA came into like being required on farms in 2018. That's when I took the 2-day course with farmers to figure out what this is and what is required. Yeah, how do we carry what the farmer has done from prep of land through watering and planting and all of the things that they put into growing safe food? How can we carry that on until it gets to the consumer? So one, that really 2018 came around, we're like, we got to get serious about this food safety aspect, not only for people who are going to eat the food and have healthy food to eat, our volunteers, those sort of things, but also to maintain that level of healthy produce that the farmer started way back, but when they decided to plant the food, carry on their level of safety. So yeah, that's when it really hit. That's when it really hit, David.
Great, thank you.
And you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, how many of those kits do you have? If you say you have like so many gleans. So have we have different types of gleans. Sometimes it's just one family that goes out to a backyard and does something, and then we do have big group gleans as well. And so I was just curious logistically.
Yeah, we have three full-on kits, and we have 2 vehicles that we drive out, and we also have backyards as well. And so there's usually one kit for each vehicle, and then there's a spare one that backyard harvesters come to pick up. And it agreed, like when it's 1 or 2, 3 feet people at a backyard picking an apple tree, yeah, they just come pick up the spare one. Or some of our backyard harvester leaders, they've compiled their own little kit that they take.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. There was something about dropped fruit, looking to implement some under netting systems to catch fruit from falling to the ground. Has anyone done this? I have seen it. I have seen people down at Oregon State University test out how to not mechanically, because they're doing it by themselves, but they've made these things. They don't touch the ground. They're up off the ground. They're kind of, this folding mechanism thing that holds like an umbrella upside down situation underneath blueberry bushes, one at a time. And then a person shakes the blueberry bush and they fall into the upside down umbrella. And they're testing to see if it bruises or how much comes off. Is green fruit falling? How much do they have to go through and pick out the bad berries versus the good berries? How efficient is it versus just hand harvesting? They have found that doing the blueberries that way, they don't get as bruised as if it was machine harvested on those harder plates that are on a mechanical harvester. But they are finding that they have to do a lot of hand picking because there's a lot of bad berries in there. The green doesn't fall, but the bad berries definitely do, the overripe berries. So there's a lot of work in that. Do you have coordinators on site with food handler cards? Yes. Food handler cards is not the same thing. So the food handler card is a card for like working in my understanding of what you're asking though, Eddie, is, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, hi, this is Etty. I just had a woman that works at Wilbur Ellis mention that on like a regular farm, there's usually somebody there with, and maybe it's not food handlers, but with a card that would kind of represent the people working there. And so I kind of was wondering if, maybe that would be something that we should look into doing where our coordinators got that card. What is that? What is it for you? It's not food handlers, but what is that certification?
It's we have not our volunteers, myself and our other paid staff person, we have attended a FSMA training course here in Oregon. The Oregon Department of Ag offers these, and you can do it from anywhere in the world, right? You can go to one of their Zoom classes and it's inexpensive. You get all the information, like this huge book, more information than we would need. More information than we would need, but I enjoyed the class.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Because I got to learn what the farmer has to do all through the process to end up with food, safe food for consumers. So it's the safety rule. And it's, like I say, you can do it on Zoom. But yes, myself and our paid staff people, they do take that course. And then I train yearly our harvest leaders, and they're volunteers, but they're there we have one of them and one staff person at each farm harvest. And so that we can kind of keep an eye on it. I train them every year at the beginning of the season. They don't have the signed, form or the signed document that says they completed the course. But yes, every farm is required to have one person on the farm that has completed that course. And Wilbur Ellis is very wise in telling you that that's a good idea.
That's amazing. Do you think that you could link that course in the chat?
Yeah, I could probably
send it afterwards, because that would be really amazing. We would definitely look into doing that.
Oh,
yeah. Elise, I'm on the WSDA site right now.
Okay.
You have a Produce Safety Alliance grower training course that includes some of the FSMA safety rules, but it's not specifically a FSMA training. That's a research project for us up here with the Gleaning Network. and we can get that out to our membership, unless you've got an easy link to share.
I dropped some links. I don't know if they're the right ones.
I was going to say this grower training course, just reading what's said there, Produce Safety Alliance training, growers training course. That seems very, very in line with what I have seen. But I will pop over to Oregon Department of Ag's website right now.
Yeah, and I think WSDA and WSU may be the way we do it. Up here in Washington.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll research it, but at least if you find something quickly with ODA, that'd be great too.
Thank you. That's awesome.
The cool thing that I like about Oregon Department of Ag compared to other states is like our state has said, our Department of Agriculture has said, we are in the business of educating. We will never fine or fine farmers for not following the rules. The USDA is required, or they come to the farms to make the fines. I don't know how it works in Washington, but our department is all about education. So they make it as easy as possible for our growers to be up to the level on what everything is. All right, another question? Any other questions? Did I miss another one?
No, this is great. And one takeaway from this is that fishing thing. So what I saw with WSDA is a little over the top. I don't think we necessarily need to know some of the mechanics of watering fields and things like that. So we'll see if we can find something that's more specifically business food handling.
Oh yeah, the business food yeah. If you could get it down to just there's like two chapters that really apply to what we're doing. But I was,
You took the whole thing.
I attend it. I enjoy it though. Most people don't. I enjoy the whole deep dive into what the farmers have to do because like it is it's so heavy. Like you're like, no wonder these people don't get paid enough to keep all of these records and all of this information. And yeah, it gets deep. But out of 7 chapters, 2 or 3 apply to what we do.
Okay, yeah, great. There's also the Northwest Ag Business Center we might connect with them.
Yeah, we'll figure out the stuff and send it out to everybody.
I was going to say, you guys might have enough pull up there to actually have them like narrow it down to those 3 chapters and do a training just for all of your Gleaning Network folks.
Yeah, we like that idea. Thank you.
We like that
Although
idea.
it is zero surprise to me that you enjoyed the deep dive.
I love the deep dive.
Amazing. Thanks for that thumbs up, Emily. Yes. I love you guys' enthusiasm on this.
I would think it could be done in 2 or 3 hours.
Perfect.
The 3 chapters that matter to us.
Amazing.
Yeah, we'll work on that. And actually, if we can do that, that might be a really good model for elsewhere in the state.
Oh yeah, totally. We'll add that. We're currently developing a project to collect the knowledge of gleaners into like a shared resource. So this is a perfect piece of that. So that'll definitely be included.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Elise, thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're so welcome.
Such a great wealth of information. We really appreciate you being here and gracious about sharing. And hopefully, I think, as we've said before, you are welcome to join in any of the calls or meetings or anything else we do here.
Yep.
Because you're such a great partner in all the work that you're doing.
I'll make sure Elise is on our mailing list.
Yeah, for sure. And Emily, yes, I think the recording will be shared.
Yes.
Yes, it will. I'll be sending out a newsletter either tomorrow or early next week that'll have a lot of stuff in it, and this will be included as well. So everyone will get the copy of the recording, the slides, and so on, and whatever links I can find. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming and sharing today. And thank you, Elise, for sharing your expertise with us. We're so grateful for that. And really lots of thoughts I've got right now to put together. So exciting.
Yeah, my two biggest things though, consistency and always be thinking about it when you're out there, like how is how is the contamination happening in this situation, and try to mitigate it as much as possible.
Yeah, good tips. Thank you. Amazing. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you at the next thing. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys. Thank you.